YouTube, Steven here with another Final Cut Pro tutorial, and today I'll be going over how to clone yourself in Final Cut Pro. I'll also be discussing two techniques you can do this and the pros and cons of each technique. Alright, let's get started. So what you want to do is you want to load up Final Cut Pro and go ahead and place your footage in the timeline. So what I have here is I have footage of me in 6 different positions around a room. Before you get started, one thing that is completely necessary is you don't really need a tripod, but you definitely need the camera to be completely still, because if you move the camera, one angle of maybe this section will be off from the angle of this section. Alright, so what you want to do is you want to get your footage and scroll all the way down to video effects right here, and then go to all, and then you can scroll down to an effect called mask. Now this is the first way to do it. You want to go ahead and place mask on your footage there, and you can move the mask around to wherever you want. So right here I'm just going to move it to the top left corner of the screen and cover that portion of the screen. What you can use, one of the reasons I prefer mask, is this tool called Feather. Now what Feather does is it basically feathers the sides of the mask so that it's more, I guess you could say it blends together well with the other footage. And then you can also do roundness, and that just basically rounds off the angles right here, so it's not as much of a cut and 90-degree angle. So you can mess with that around if you want. And then you basically want to do this for each one of these footages or clips. You just want to go on and throw a mask on for each one and pick and choose where you want the mask to be. Now I'm just going to go ahead and fast forward right here until I'm finished doing all this. Alright, so once you've done that, put your little boxes around each one of yourself. Oh, by the way, this is like I get up and move into a new position, then record for 15 seconds or so. Or this is just for a test, not an actual like skit or anything like that. But a technique I like to employ when drawing these boxes, the masks around each footage, is trying to like line them up with a linear edge. Like right here, they're lining up with the edge of this dresser, and then like over here, try and line them up with the bed, just so it follows the lines and it's not cutting across anything majorly important. Alright, so once you have all the masks set up, you can go ahead and just place the footage underneath each other, like so. And so, but you click on it and it's like, well, that doesn't look too good. So what you want to do is you want to go to the last one at the bottom and just go put the mask, fix it all the way to every corner. And then voila, you got your twins of yourself, your clones. And you can do all this good stuff. So that's the mask. The other technique I like to do is just a cropping method, and basically you just layer the footage on top of each other and crop them. And it's almost the same technique as this, but it's a little bit harder because you don't have the feather tool. See here. Alright, there we go. So basically what you want to do is you want to just go ahead and layer on top of each other. It doesn't matter if you layer it like up this way or down that way. It doesn't matter. You can go ahead to video and go to crop, and then move the image to right here and make like the box around him, or yourself, you could say. And see, that's what happens sometimes when you're overlaying footage. If you're running it too hard, usually that might happen. Footage kind of, when you're overlaying it, gets a little laggy. And Final Cut Pro, depends on your processing power, will quit unexpectedly, but you can just reopen it. Not too hard to do. Let's see if I can fit. Okay. Here we're going to just do the crop method again, see if that works. I'm just having a little problems with my Final Cut Pro. There we go. So yeah, just go ahead and crop it, and then you can overlay the footage, and then do the crop again. Or I like to say crop. It's actually a trim. And you just basically do the same thing over and over again, just like the last one. I see what's wrong. There we go. It was shifted over. It was transformed a little bit to the right or to the left on the X scale. That's why it was giving me some trouble. Go ahead and fix that. There we go. So yeah, just go ahead and trim it however you want. You gotta kind of make sure the borders align right. But as you can tell a little bit right here, this is one of the problems with doing the crop or trimming method, is that when you trim along a wall or just anything, the image will be distorted, especially like on these just edges like that. And then go ahead and do that again, and I'll fast forward it until it is ready to go. Alright, so you're at the final one. You can go ahead and do that if you want to like crop it. You can just go do that, but see, then again, it has all these black spots. So what you want to do is you want to go back to what you had it as and put it all the way down at the bottom. And voila, it's good to go. And so this method also works. You don't have to find the masking tool and work on feathering if you trying to do a quick one. So the pros and cons over cropping method or trimming method is that it distorts the image. You can tell right here it's just a box, it's a rectangle, so you don't have the flexibility of going along this edge, so you're stuck cutting it in half, and you can tell right there it's kind of messed up. And then the other main problem with using the cropping method, I keep on saying cropping, it's trimming actually, is that for each image that you crop, you kind of have to, if the lighting might be off, you have to fix that. You have to go into the color correction and fix the exposure to match it with the other. See how it's like this box is right here. You want to try and see it's really dark right there, but it's really light right there. So you gotta kind of just work around with it to match the exposure from both camera shots. And that goes into the next topic, is that shooting methods, when you're doing this, when you're trying to make a clone of yourself, you gotta have to be aware of your surroundings. Two things: one, wind factor, and two, lighting. It's really hard to do this method if you're shooting outdoors, mainly because the sun will move. There's nothing you can do about that. And so in different shots, the lighting is going to be off, so you kind of have to spend a lot of time playing around with that. And then the wind factor, if you're outside, it might be windy during one shot and then totally dead the next. So if you're going to do it outside, I don't recommend doing it on a sunny day. A cloudy day would probably work best for you. But just to make everything easier for you, do it inside, and that will save you a lot of trouble. Also, for the masking, for the masking method, it's I definitely recommend using that one over this one, just because you can feather the edges and make them blur together, and then also you have more flexibility to get like a circle around someone. It's like if I went up to someone and I had a blanket and I threw the blanket on the person, the blanket would be a little bit more, I guess, fitting to the body shape than if I had a rectangular cardboard box and I tried to fit that on someone. And that's kind of the difference between both of these. Yeah, so those are the only two ways I know about doing it on Final Cut Pro. I know that you can do, if you want to clone yourself, you can do it in Adobe After Effects, and you can use a feathering tool as well. But if like that's if you really want to have like clone interactions, but that's really hard because then you have to do it frame by frame, and it's very tedious. And you can also do it if you want to use a green screen, but we all know how annoying setting a green screen up is unless you actually have a huge green screen. So yeah, that's Final Cut Pro cloning. If you guys have any comments or suggestions for a new method I might not know of, feel free to leave a comment in the comment section below. And that is all for today's tutorial. Thanks for watching.